It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Welcome back to Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Corey Knutson, here with my best bud, Mason Schmidt.
I am not a crook.
Nice. That's a sick reference, bud.
Really applies to the Academy Awards.
Yeah, awesome relation to what we're talking about.
100% we did it.
Today, we were going through the Oscar nominees. We're making our predictions. The awards are on Sunday. We're both looking forward to it.
Best day of the year.
One of our favorite days of the year. It's awesome.
It's my favorite day of the year.
Okay, I don't think we need to make this
semantics.
Don't do this. Don't do this
okay,
right now.
Sorry.
Okay, all right, simmer down. So we're gonna be going through every category and giving our picks for who's gonna win, with the caveat that this is being filmed on Friday night and Sunday morning. We both usually do our official ballots, so we're going to fill those out on Sunday, and some of these picks could vary kind of just over even the next couple days if our minds change on that. So, we just want to go through each one, give who we're going to win, maybe talk about who we want to win in each one. We'll see. But we're going to get started off with the Best Animated Short Film. Mason, who we got for the nominees there?
The nominees for Animated Short Film are Beautiful Men, In the Shadow of the Cypress, Magic Candies, Wander to Wonder, and Yuck. Yuck! Which was my favorite of this category. And this was the short category that we got to see together at the main cinema in Minneapolis, so that was a treat. I honestly, with the shorts this year, this is the only year that I went and saw them all in theaters, and I think it's almost doing me a disservice, because now I have like a lot of personal opinion in terms of which one's my favorite, that it's kind of hard to be like, which one do I think is actually going to win? Whereas, like, in years past, I'd just wake up the Sunday of the Oscars and I'd be like, which one have I even heard of at this point? That's probably the one that's going to win. I feel like with animated short film, the one that I'm leaning towards, and is also of the five towards that the upper half in terms of quality for me, is Wander to Wonder. I think that one might steal this one. Personally, Yuck was my favorite. I would love it if that won. I just think Wander to Wonder is kind of where this award is kind of leaning towards.
Yeah, that was my personal favorite one. I'm actually going with Yuck. I'm picking that.
Oh, you think Yuck?
I think so, and that was my least favorite of these five. Not that it's bad, but
yeah, because it was my favorite. You remember the part when I said it was my favorite?
Yeah. What is this?
I don't know. I just want to be confrontational.
Yeah. A lot of crook.
I started with a Nixon bar, and now I'm just going to be confrontational.
This one's an interesting category because there's not like a heavy subject matter in like any of these, so I think it is kind of just one that is going to be the most appealing and like is most fun to people. So I'm going with Yuck, but I totally agree with like some of these short categories where like you watch them and you feel like you should be more educated about it. That's how I feel with March Madness, where like I'm watching the games all year and then I'll fill up my bracket and I just do dog shit on it. Yeah. But somebody that hasn't watched games all year is like, oh, I got a like almost perfect bracket. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, so you're going with Wander to Wonder.
Wander to Wonder. If Yuck won, that'd be great. Beautiful Men or In the Shadow of the Cypress, I feel like I haven't heard much about in terms of like a lot of love for them or any kind of awards leaning that way. I know Wander to Wonder has won awards kind of in a similar category to this in the prior awards shows, especially for the animated shows. So that's the only reason why I'm kind of leaning the way I am.
Yeah, I would love to see Wander to Wonder. That one is hilarious.
Some of the best, just fucking wild humor. Oh my god.
It's incredible.
Wild thing to watch.
Next up is documentary short film. The nominees are Death by Numbers, I Am Ready Warden, Incident, Instruments of a Beating Heart, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra. This one, I've narrowed it down to I'm Ready Warden and Incident. I'm going to take I'm Ready Warden in this category. This one, I haven't seen any of these yet. I may try and watch a couple of them before Oscar Sunday, but this one feels like that heavy-hitting subject that Oscar voters would kind of flock to. So,
Incident was my favorite of the ones that I saw within this category. I'm personally hoping for it. It's just I don't think I've heard a lot of kind of talk about it leaning that way. I've heard some love for I'm Ready Warden, so I wouldn't be surprised if that won. I don't know if Death by Numbers or Instruments of a Beating Heart really have like the biggest chance. I've heard little to nothing in terms of talk and kind of momentum behind those two shorts. The Only Girl in the Orchestra, one, I know Netflix has been kind of nailing it with their documentary shorts over the past couple of years. So I wouldn't be surprised with The Only Girl in the Orchestra being from Netflix, kind of potentially having some momentum behind it. Also, it's some interesting material about someone that was overlooked in her time. So I would be surprised based on the material of what it's about. I think it's a rather well-made documentary short. It's the one that I felt the least watching, though. Some of these are about really hard-hitting stuff, like Death by Numbers and I Am Ready, Warden, and Incident. Incident's very topical. So if it did go that route, I'd be thrilled with it. One, because I think it's exceptionally well-made, and it's also really relevant to today. I just hope that more people see Instruments of a Beating Heart, just because that is such a happy documentary about kids wanting to play instruments for the incoming first graders, and it's just such a sweet story. But I'm torn. I think for me, it's between I Am Ready, Warden, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra that's probably going to win this one, even though I personally would want Incident to take it. Moving into live action short films, we have Alien, or Alien. I've heard them read both ways. Anuja, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, which I do not like that title. That title is almost as long as the short film itself. But I also, I still don't, my personal pick is I'm Not a Robot. I think stylistically, it's such a perfect short film. It's just beginning, middle, end, and it has, a cohesive story throughout. Some of these short films I ran into watching them that they didn't have a real ending to me. It felt like they were kind of a proof of concept or the introduction to a premise, but that it didn't really hit home or end somewhere. I've heard some love for Anuja. I honestly think the front runners in this category are Alien and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, both which were exceptionally well made. I really enjoyed the live action short film category. Corey, have you kind of heard anything, or is there one that you think potentially has more momentum going into the awards?
Yeah, this one, I'm going to pick Alien or Alien. It feels like a very topical one right now, and the Academy loves to take current events, and short films that are made about that seem to perform better. But I think I'm Not a Robot is on YouTube, if I remember right.
If it is, watch it.
Yeah, so that's one that I want to see just from kind of your recommendations. So I do want to check that out. But the short film categories are always kind of a toss-up, but often end up being the decider in your Oscar pools of who's going to win. So it's kind of a toss-up there, but I'm going with Alien.
Yeah, I feel like with a year like this, typically the shorts can kind of make or break your ballot. But honestly, there's a lot of awards this year that it's going to go one of 2 or 3 ways. Whereas last year we had Oppenheimer just winning a lot of the awards. And it's you can kind of foresee who's going to win a lot of them. This year is full of a bunch of dude, it's fucking a roll of the dice. I have no idea.
Which that makes it fun. Makes it a fun award season.
Yeah.
Very unpredictable.
I'm either going to do so well or dog shit on my ballot this year, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, it'll be cool to watch. Moving into the next category, we got Best Visual Effects. Nominees are Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. Dune 2. That's what I'm going for here. I think the only one that could upset here is Planet of the Apes, but Dune 2 to me feels close to a lock.
Yeah, that's 100% completely agree. I've seen some love for Better Man, which as someone who didn't want to watch that movie but did, every single shot of that movie that is based around your main character is a VFX shot. So that's kind of overwhelming. That's really insurmountable work that you guys were able to achieve. But times that by 40, then you got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. That does it probably better. So I think the two spearheads of this category are for sure Dune Part 2 and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think they're both so well done. They're both immersive. I personally am giving the edge to Dune Part 2. One, it's the one that I want to win. Also, I just think that is an impeccable thing to see in theaters, especially. That's the one I'd be giving this one. This one's not a lock, but it's, I think, very clearly between these two, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Dune Part 2, and I'd be really surprised if it didn't go to either of those two. Again, my choice personally being Dune Part 2. Moving into the sound category, we have, for nominees, A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Dune Part 2.
Dune 2.
Dune 2.
This one, I will say that there's a couple other ones in here. I think A Complete Unknown and Wicked are two others that have a chance. And the reason I say that is A Complete Unknown won the top award at the Cinema Audio Society Awards, which is a pretty solid indicator of an Oscars winner. I don't know if that's going to translate this year necessarily. And then Wicked, I think, also, like, kind of with Dune 2, like, bigger sort of blockbusters that have just
Almost
incredible
epic.
sound.
Yeah.
But Dune 2, just, like, I was thinking this morning about just, like, him riding the sandworm for the first time, and, like, the sound in the theater
Just
for that.
the ruffling, the air just
Yeah.
like fluttering past your ear. Oh
And
my god.
so that kind of put me over the edge for Dune 2 there. I hope it wins, because I don't think it's going to win in a lot of other
Yeah.
categories.
I think
so.
I'm gunning for it to win in everything that it's nominated for, but I think these technical categories is going to be where it cleans up the most and it has the best chance too. The sound of Dune Part 2 is impeccable, and you could say the same for The Wild Robot. I think that if that won awards in terms of sound or score, which we'll talk about soon, I wouldn't be necessarily surprised. I just think you're at the little kids table still, not just because you're an animated film, but you got Dune Part 2.
It's tough sometimes for animated movies to win these other awards.
And to prove, yeah.
Next up is makeup and hairstyling. We've got A Different Man, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. I'm going The Substance here. That's just the makeup effects on Demi Moore. I mean, it's such a crucial part of the movie throughout it all, and then towards the end, it just looks so insane and crazy, and you can tell that like almost everything is practical, which is so impressive. And I love that The Substance is like more than likely going to be an Oscar-winning movie. That makes me very happy. So I'm going with Substance here.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you said The Substance. I thought I was going to be the only one saying that one today. I agree. The Substance is kind of my pick. I think that the makeup in that film, it is its own character, with especially towards the end when it is just full makeup. Like, what is this amalgamation of a creature? Like, what the fuck's going on here? It's like I said, there's going to be a lot of categories this year where it's gonna be hard to have like a definitive lock for me, but The Substance in this category is the one where I'm like one of the ones where I feel the most confident in. I love that movie. I'm really happy Nosferatu didn't get a lot of love in terms of awards. It came out late in the season, but I'm happy to see that it did get a nomination, especially in this category. The look of Count Orlok and his little penis was something that initially was like, what's going on here? Like, it took me a minute, but it grew on me, and
It's average.
Okay, you're too good at that. But I love seeing some love for Nosferatu. Moving into costume design, the nominees are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Some of these more stylistic awards, production design, stuff like that, I can't envision it going to anything aside from Wicked. I think Wicked, again, some of these technical categories, I'm like, I feel like it's got to be clear to everyone that this is where this has to go. I don't know. Wicked is just so fantastical and so of itself. Nosferatu is gothic. Gladiator 2, we already had a Gladiator movie, and we've already seen kind of this kind of style. So I think Wicked is just really special in what it's setting out to do, and it achieves it on a very high level. Corey, what would be your pick for costume design?
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking Wicked here. Sorry, Gladiator 2. You're probably not going to be an Oscar winner like your predecessor.
Yeah, that's fine, though.
Yeah,
That's fine.
It's okay. It's a fine movie.
It was an okay enough movie.
It's not an Oscar-worthy movie, and that's it. Not every movie needs to be.
I saw it on the biggest screen I could find in Duluth, and I dozed off for 10 minutes.
I don't think I knew that, actually.
A portion of the movie.
I don't think I knew that.
I remember waking up in the middle of the movie and not knowing, like, I was like, did I miss anything important? But I was, like, still able to keep up with the movie. I'm like, you know what? It's probably fine. I don't need to go back and try and find this part.
Did you see the sharks? You saw the sharks?
I saw the sharks. Sharks were stupid as fuck. But, I mean, cool, but, like, really?
Yeah.
In the Coliseum? Okay. Anyway.
We have a whole episode about it if you want to listen to it.
Did you see the sharks?
I want to make sure you didn't fall asleep for that.
Yeah, obviously.
Next category we got Best Documentary Feature. We have Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. I think this one is between No Other Land and Porcelain War. I'm going to go with No Other Land. I just think that, I believe, if I remember right, last year we had it was either a documentary or documentary short that was centered around the Russia-Ukraine war that had won. So I think with Porcelain War kind of in that same category, they may want to give it to No Other Land, whereas it's kind of more of like the Israel-Hamas, that whole conflict going on right now. So I'm going to lean that way, but I wouldn't be surprised if Porcelain War took this either.
Yeah. I originally, after I watched all these documentaries, my personal favorite in this category was Porcelain War, but I knew going into the awards ceremony it was going to be between No Other Land and Porcelain War. They're both exceptionally well made. I do think No Other Land is going to be the one that takes it. And it's also just crazy how hard it was to try and find that movie showing anywhere near us and to see it in theaters. I feel like the distribution of it was just... It was something so rare to see. People always complain oh, this movie's nominated for an Oscar? Never fucking heard of it. No Other Land, it barely made it to theaters near us. And I'm really lucky that I got to see it. It was a really well done documentary. I would not be upset if it won. I think it's deserving. I think it's exceptionally well done. It's very topical. It's very disturbing. If soundtrack to a coup d'etat gets any sort of momentum, anything, I'm going to get a vasectomy, I think. Fuck that documentary. That is the worst piece of garbage I've seen in a long time.
What about the 5 kids that Ellie wants?
I'm going to try and convince her down to 3, and then maybe I have a vasectomy. But like I said, if soundtrack to a coup d'etat, we're just going to start adopting then.
Sure.
Because of vasectomy, snip, snap.
Snip, snap, snip, snap.
Snip, snap. You have no idea the toll. Anyway.
Fine, let's have a kid. Fuck it. Are you serious? Go watch the Dinner Party Office episode.
Best episode of the show.
Yeah.
One of the best, at least. Moving on into film editing. The nominees for editing are Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Wicked.
This gets tricky.
This gets hard. That's what she said.
Nice.
Don't love Anora as much as a lot of people, but I do think it's relatively well made. And I think it's going to win this award for editing, even though that was an issue I had with the movie, was the editing, the trimming down of scenes. But also there's jokes that land in that movie that are 100% reliant on the editing. And I think that Anora kind of has the momentum going for it. If I had to pick a movie out of this category that I would rather win, it'd probably be between The Brutalist and Conclave. I think The Brutalist, it is just such a massive spectacle, and I think it handles it all well. I know some people have had complaints about, the second half kind of lags, it's not as good as the first half. I had no issues with that. And I think the way that that film unfolds and tells its massive story that is massively personal, it's something really spectacular. And I think if it got recognition for editing, I'd be thrilled. Conclave is a film built on its editing and its writing, and just conversations between old white guys just trying to figure out who's going to take over as the new pope. And I think that movie, if that won Best Editing, I'd be thrilled. I just personally think Anora's maybe going to edge it out.
Yeah, I'm going with Conclave.
Okay.
As of right now, like we said earlier, some of these could change before Oscar morning. But yeah, I don't know. Conclave, I don't think it's going to win in some of the major categories. So I think they'll want to give it some love elsewhere. And I think this is one of those categories. Anora, I mean, if Sean Baker could win 4 Oscars on Sunday.
That's crazy too.
Because he's the editor for this movie, directing, writer, Best Picture. So that's insane. But yeah, I think it really is between those 3, Anora, Brutalist, and Conclave, that again are kind of like the Best Picture frontrunners. And a lot of these categories, I'm like, it's between some of these. So I'm going with Conclave, but very close between that and Anora.
The thought process that kind of gets underlined in terms of hey, I think this award's going to win this one, so this award should go to this movie just because I want to give it recognition. I don't necessarily support that or try to think like that. I think it's important to just contain within a bubble. Don't think about the other categories. What film was edited best? And I hope that most voters within the Academy went that route. And not necessarily we need to try and spread the wealth, make sure everyone gets an award, even though I do want Conclave to win this. I just wouldn't be surprised if Anora ended up taking it.
Right on. I wish that is how every Academy person.
But then you hear shit.
And then sometimes, you know,
They're like, oh, I didn't vote for Adrian Brody because he already won. It's like, well, that's not fucking how this works.
Yeah, and then
like,
sometimes Crash wins Best Picture. Sometimes, you know, Green Book wins Best Picture, and it's like, well,
everyone's just like, what the fuck is going on right now?
yeah, it's I don't know. It's an interesting thing. There's never a way to like actually analyze what they do.
It wasn't up until this week of like getting really into watching Oscar-nominated, Oscar-winning movies that I missed out from history. In preparation for the Oscars this week, where I like went back and I was like, what was the last Best Picture that like floored me? Which like Oppenheimer I loved and I fully expected it to win. Everything Everywhere All at Once winning Best Picture, I was just like, what a fucking just like chef's kiss of a thing for the Academy to pick for the best movie. That is such a ballsy choice. But then you have the Green Books. Then you have The Crash. And I know you don't like Moonlight. Well, at least that it beat La La Land.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they're just like Best Picture winners that I'm like, what the fuck is Nomadland really? Like there's just shit going on.
And then sometimes Suicide Squad becomes an Oscar winner.
Yeah, like there's faults within the Academy.
There's just things that happen that it's like
We're still human.
I don't.
That's fine.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, into Best Original Song, we have El Mal from Emilia Perez, The Journey from 6888, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mi Camino from Emilia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. This is El Mal winning. This is one of the few that the Emilia Perez is going to win. Diane Warren, sorry, you're not winning.
Get fucked.
You're still not winning. Yeah. You probably never will. But yeah, this was one that feels like Emilia Perez, aside from all the backlash, is still very much like this is kind of a lock almost.
And this is one of the awards that it going to Emilia Perez I have no issue with. Of the song,
I do. Fuck that song.
I will say it's the better of the two nominated for Emilia Perez. And within that, one big issue I have with this category is I don't think if the movie plays over the end credits that should qualify. It should have to have some sort of impact on the actual picture, the movie, the story within the introduction and the fade to black. Which El Mal is in the movie. I thought it was pretty catchy. I like the punchiness of it. Am I going to sit down and listen to it again? No, I'm going to probably listen to Like a Bird over the song. I like that song more. But I have no issue with it going to Emilia Perez for this just because it's a part of the movie. It's a pretty it's a relatively a standout moment in the film. And it's, like I said, one of the few I'd be okay with Emilia Perez winning.
Next year when we're doing our Oscar predictions, I'm going to ask you to sing a part of El Mal for me.
I can't.
So,
it's a different language, dude. I'm
going to ask you to hum.
Am Minnesota white,
I'm going to ask you to hum a part of El Mal and see if you remember.
I was born here and I'm very bad at English. Like, I suck at grammar. Half the shit I say, you know, in the character I most relate to in any movie I've ever seen is Edward Norton
from Goonies.
Okay, well, let's not be mean. Even though I was gonna say Edward Norton from Glass Onion, where he just like makes up words that are like almost the correct word, but he just like fucks it up a little bit, and then they're all like, "That's not a word. You're just such a fucking idiot." I'm like, "Damn, that's me." Like all the time. Just like I think this is a word. I'm just gonna force it, and then just hopefully say it fast enough that people are just like, "Yeah, I get what he's saying."
Brush by it.
Yeah, just like just let him have it. Anyway, moving into Best Original Score, we have for nominees The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I would love it if The Wild Robot won. I would love it if Conclave won. I think it's probably going to go to Brutalist, and I'm also not mad about that. My pick would be for The Brutalist. 3 of the nominees within this category I really love. Wicked, I can't really think of the original aspects of the score aside from like the big musical numbers. It just kind of fades into the background for me. And Emilia Perez, again, musical numbers, those kind of stand out, but the overall score of the film, that kind of fades to the back. I can't really remember it. Doesn't stand out. Brutalist, Conclave, and Wild Robot, I think all have sensational scores. I think just the edges to Brutalist.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dune 2 probably. Never mind.
Yeah.
I guess
easily would have won it.
I guess Wicked can be in there for music that's already existed, but Dune 2 can't be in there. But anyways, that's just me being salty.
You had me for a second. I was like, it's not nominated. And I was like, oh, I get your joke now.
Brutalist is winning. Just those 4 notes. Dun, 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 dun.
The opening
so
of the fucking movie, too, like that.
It's great. So, yeah, I'm going Brutalist there. Next up is production design. We got The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. again, like costume design, going Wicked. The sets, everything in this movie is awesome. It looks great. The train that goes through is always so impressive to me every time I see that. The like rotating library sequence that they have is really cool. There's so much great things about this movie of bringing Oz to life, and this one feels very much like Wicked has it in the bag.
Yeah, when it like comes to production design, I think Wicked fully leaned into like doing things practically and also doing like a lot of those featurettes. Like, look at us, like we're trying to like harken back to classic Hollywood. Like, we want to do Wizard of Oz proud. We want to do an authentic story that has real tangible sets that are almost a character within its own film. The Emerald City has never looked better than in Wicked. Oz has never looked better than in Wicked. I think it is a lock for production design. It's one of the few awards this season that I'm like comfortable, like, yeah, I can just put that down and I can move on to the next category. I love to see some love for Nosferatu and Dune Part 2. But yeah, Wicked, I think you have this one in the bag. Moving on into cinematography, which is one of my favorite awards of the evening. The nominees are The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. I want it to go to Dune Part 2 so fucking badly. I just feel like I haven't heard any of the chatter. Haven't heard any chatter for Dune Part 2 in this category, which is a shame, a damn shame. I'm happy that Nosferatu got a nominee. Maria is a stunning movie. Emilia Perez, I don't remember how you look. But I think it's going to The Brutalist. That's the one that stands out in my mind. I think it fits what the Academy looks for in terms of best cinematography. Although I think, honestly, if Dune Part 2 came out later in the year, I wonder how, if at all, it would be different in terms of where the momentum was shifting. But I think Dune Part 2 has kind of been forgotten in terms of the look of the film, aside from the visual effects and such. I think The Brutalist has this award kind of safely.
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way, and yeah, the release structure of movies, and I mean, Dune Part 2 was supposed to be 2023, and how would have that played out with Oppenheimer going head-to-head in all these categories? Like, that would have been insane. You know, does Denis Villeneuve get a nomination for director if it came out in 2023? All those questions, but...
He should have this fucking year.
Yeah, he absolutely should have. But yeah, cinematography, I think, for The Brutalist, it's epic without being a huge blockbuster movie. It's just a dude, like, an architecture dude, just, like, making buildings.
And it's original. Like, there are shots in the film that I'm like, I never would have thought to see something in this way. Or, like, the way, like... The whole film is about architecture and just how imposing this specific style of architecture is, and I think that the film captures it wonderfully. So I have no issue with it winning. I just personally am like, come on, Dune. Like, people love Dune. Like,
there's the scene in The Brutalist, like, where they're at. I think it's like in Italy at like the marble, kind of like the mountain that they're on, and then they go in. There's like a little party in there. It's just like, it looks incredible, and so I think that you could show that as the Oscar clip because that looks amazing. Moving into Best Animated Feature, we've got Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and then the Wild Robot. You know, I only did that because Wallace and Gromit's not going to win. But just a shout out to the boys, man.
It's so awesome
shout
to see
out
that
to the fucking
nominated.
crew. Oh, I love those guys. They're just devious.
some goons.
They're always up to something.
I'm gonna lend you Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
I need to watch that actually. I want to watch like all the other shorts too, just like have a full knowledge of the boys. Wish you would win, but you know, not this year. Sorry, boys. I'm picking the Wild Robot here, but I'm very scared that Flow is gonna win. It has a lot of momentum, and it being in the Best International Feature as well, that always strengthens a movie's case. But Wild Robot also, I mean, that's in Best Sound and Best Score as well, so it's kind of head-to-head there. This feels like it could be another Across the Spider-Verse Boy and the Heron thing, and that scares me.
Say that.
That scares me. I think the Wild Robot is going to win, though, so that's my pick.
Okay. I think a while back when I started like going through the animation category, it felt very much like a two-horse race between Flow and the Wild Robot, which I still think it very much is. But where I used to view Flow as being the front leader, I think it's shifted, and now the Wild Robot, like, I feel like comfortably has this one. And also, I am setting myself up for the massive disappointment for when Flo wins and I put a hole through your wall because we're going to project the Oscars onto your apartment wall. Yeah, I don't want another The Boy and the Heron incident just because Flo, like I said, it doesn't feel like an animated feature. It feels like a proof of concept, like a sizzle reel. I don't think it deserves.
Feels like a waste of time.
That's a little bit more harsh, but I'm not like, I don't find your opinion to be horribly offensive. I think that The Wild Robot, just all in all, is a better made film. It is the best animated feature from 2024, and I think it should win, and I think it will win, and I'm hoping and praying to God that it does win, because I don't want to see Flo ever again in my life.
Preach.
And that's coming from someone that didn't hate it. Like, I have no like desire to go rush out and rewatch Flo, watch these animals bumble around on a raft. Like, I saw it once, I got the gist, I don't need to see it again. It is beautifully animated, but not a great movie. Moving into, actually, maybe one of my favorite categories over the past couple of years, international feature film. The nominees are I'm Still Here from Brazil, The Girl with the Needle from Denmark, Emilia Perez from Mexico, from France, I mean, The Secret of the Fig from Germany, and Flo from Latvia. I would shit a rainbow if The Girl with the Needle won. I love that movie. I think that is such a haunting, masterfully well-made film. I think I'm Still Here is gonna win. I'm hoping it's also gonna win just because the performances in that film are so well done. I'm on board with Fernanda Torres potentially being a dark horse in the Best Lead Actress category. I really overall enjoyed the movie. Maybe not as much as Corey did, but I think that it's leaning that way. I'm just kind of pushing Flo out of the conversation, and I'm hoping Emilia Perez is no longer in the conversation. Sorry, Jacques, I don't think you made that great of a movie. I'm Still Here is a very well done film. Not just for international audiences, for anyone that's willing to read subtitles, this is something that you can get a lot out of. So I'm really hoping that I'm Still Here gets the win.
Yeah, like a month ago, if you were to ask me, I would have said Emilia Perez. And then over the discourse with that movie, along with the surge that I'm Still Here had, just seemingly in the last couple weeks, kind of leading into Oscar voting, it seems like it peaked at the right time. Mm-hmm. It really feels like everybody was digging this movie. Just a lot of support from like the country of Brazil itself, and just like people championing this movie and being like, this is like something very important, very special. So I'm going with I'm Still Here, but I think Emilia Perez still does have a chance. I hope it doesn't, because I don't want to see it win a lot.
I remember watching the nominees come out, and I was watching it on like the Academy's Instagram Live, and the comments were just firing, just for I'm Still Here, for Fernanda Torres, for like Pride for Brazil, and it was just something really like enjoyable and sweet and authentic, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm on board too. So I'm actually really gunning for I'm Still Here. Again, I think The Girl with the Needle is a very underseen film within this international feature category. If you haven't seen it, if you have no desire to see it, maybe try, just give it a chance. It's amazing. But come on, I'm Still Here. I think you got to get this one.
Yeah, I hope that one takes it. Next up is adapted screenplay. We've got A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. I am going with Conclave here. This feels like pretty close to a lock for me. One of the ones I'm fairly confident in. This took the Conclave won the USC Scripter Award, which is a fairly good indicator of the Oscar winner. Again, a lot of the precursors you can look at and be like, it indicates the winner, and then it doesn't happen. But yeah, it's always fun to talk about and mention. But yeah, Conclave to me is an exceptionally well-written movie, and Peter Strahan did an incredible job of making a movie about guys standing around talking about who's going to be the next pope incredibly interesting. Mm-hmm. And I think that Academy voters will feel the same way.
Yeah, Conclave was my pick as well for this category. This film is so thrilling when it's just conversation. It's all just talking. It's delegating and trying to reason who they think should be the new pope. And this movie was intoxicating, and it is so well written. It's hard for me to personally like judge adapted screenplays because I'm like, I don't know what like it's adapted from. Like I haven't read these books or the material that it's coming from, but being able to see the movie on screen, it worked flawlessly. So I'm really gunning for Conclave. I think it has a pretty good chance at sealing this award.
Would love a Sing Sing upset here.
I would too. I would love, honestly, just any appreciation or love or admiration for Sing Sing. I was really hoping Coleman Domingo would have more steam going into the Best Actor category, but I guess we'll touch on that in a little bit. But yeah, I want Sing Sing to get some love, any mention of anything, because that movie is very, very underappreciated, especially when you look at the list of nominees within these categories. Moving into the original screenplay Oscar, the nominees for that category are Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5th,
Attaboy.
and The Substance. This one is hard, because if I took like all of the things that I've heard in terms of momentum out of it, and I had to just pick what was the best original screenplay, I would fucking struggle. And I would probably lean more towards The Substance. I'd probably just lean towards The Substance in September 5th, because September 5th is built on its writing. That is a film about writing and editing. That is such a great, thrilling movie. I was really hoping September 5th would win. I'm really hoping The Substance gets love throughout the awards. I don't know if it's going to be in this category. I wouldn't be surprised if it snuck away with this award, but also I wouldn't be surprised if A Real Pain snuck away with this award, because it's been winning a lot of writing awards at prior ceremonies. So it's a toss-up for me, honestly, in this category. I can't definitively say what my favorite is. I think just going off of the steam of all the love for Anora, I think my pick for this category would be Anora.
Right now I would agree. I would say Anora. But if I'm just personally looking at the title of Best Original Screenplay, The Substance is the most original thing out of these five. So like that, I think that should win, and I don't think it's crazy if it were to win. But then, yeah, I think A Real Pain is the other kind of challenger here. I think Jesse Eisenberg did a great job with that screenplay. Again, just kind of
writing people.
Yeah, just people talking and really playing to the strengths of your actors. So, I think Anora has the slight edge here, but not as locked in as adapted screenplay, I would say. All right, moving into the big categories here. We've got supporting actor. We've got Yura Borisov from Anora, Kieran Culkin from A Real Pain, Edward Norton from A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce from The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong from The Apprentice. This one, for me, feels like pretty close to a lock with Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an upset here. I don't know. I just have a feeling that like this year's going to be very interesting. Like if you're a Borisov one or something, like that wouldn't shock me. But Kieran Culkin just having won all of the precursors, and his speeches are just incredible. I love him.
His frantic bullshit he does every time.
It's incredible. Like I love it. So I feel fairly confident. But again, look out for an upset maybe.
Yeah. No. With how just sporadic and wild the awards leading up to the Academy Awards have been, I feel like there's just bound to be an upset that no one really sees coming. I don't know if it's going to be within this category. I also would pick Kieran Culkin just based off the momentum, the wave that he is just fucking riding in on. I think if Guy Pearce were to upset him from The Brutalist, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I'd be a little surprised, and I'd be thrilled. I love seeing Yura Borisov in this category. He was the best part of Anora for me. Like I said, I think Kieran Culkin probably has this one pretty safely, but if there was an upset, I could see Guy Pearce potentially being that upset, because I think he gives a flawless performance in The Brutalist.
Also, Edward Norton. I wouldn't count. It's simply
don't give it to his ass.
Simply for the reason that A Complete Unknown, again, kind of like I'm Still Here, came in at a really good time, and the Academy was very high on that movie. And I mean, we haven't predicted it to win any awards yet, so like
it's because I don't think it should.
And it's like, well, again, like we mentioned earlier, like you try and predict, like, is the Academy thinking like, well, we need to give love to a movie somewhere? Like, do they think like that? Do they not? will A Complete Unknown win Best Sound, or will it get a supporting thing? Like, it's just, you never know, and that's why I'm like not 100% confident in this one. But yeah, Kieran Culkin feels close to a lock, but not 100% there.
You know an award show is just bound to be fucky with you when you on a category that should be or potentially is the closest to a lock. You're like, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go the way I think. So yeah, again leaning towards Kieran Culkin, but now that we've talked about it, now I'm like, fuck, maybe less now. I don't know. Anyway, moving into actress in a supporting role, we have Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabel Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez.
Way to hit that, son.
Saldana!
Nice.
Which I've never said it like that until like the more recent stuff has come out and like more interviews have happened. I'm like, have I just really been butchering this woman's name? I don't know. She's actually my pick. I think she has a lot of the momentum rolling into Oscars. Personally, I would love it if Monica Barbaro won. That is the performance in A Complete Unknown that I think deserves all the love and is potentially awards worthy. It was cool to see Timothée Chalamet win at the SAG. Do I think he necessarily deserved it? No. Am I mad at his speech? Fuck no. Go off. Like, that's fucking baller ass speech.
Awesome.
People have just given him so much flack for that speech of just being like, hey, I aspire to do great things and I want to do great things, and this is an award that's proving to me like, hey, just keep going. You're doing something right. I'm like, there's no issue with that. That was a great speech. Anyways, it's a tangent, and I think Zoe Saldana will likely win this award. I don't know. Monica Barbaro would be the only other person I'd be happy with winning. I just can't see it going to anyone aside from Saldana.
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way. She is kind of, like Kieran Culkin, won almost every precursor.
Yeah. And she is the best part of Emilia Perez. Yeah. As someone who likes the movie more than you.
Yeah, I guess I could
Come on.
I think a potential upset could be Ariana Grande for Wicked. But yeah, I'm leaning Zoe Saldana. Into leading actor, just talked about Timothée Chalamet being nominated for A Complete Unknown. We've also got Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. This one, Adrian Brody and Timothée Chalamet feel like the front runners. Ray Fiennes, I wouldn't completely count him out. Mm-hmm. The Academy loves... not that it is this, but like the Legacy Award of an actor that's never won, Best Actor or a Performance Award and giving it to him. So that wouldn't shock me, but I am taking Adrian Brody here. It sometimes feels like the Academy doesn't love giving awards to younger actors. It feels like they want to let them have their time, go through their nominations. Leo DiCaprio, a lot of people like that where... the more established actors sometimes win. Even just looking at like Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere, like Stephanie Hsu should have won that, or Carrie Condon for Banshees of Inisherin. But Jamie Lee Curtis is the Legacy Award, and like it's whatever, and she was good.
She won at SAG. She won the SAG that year too, right?
I think so.
Which like even when she won that, I was like, really?
Yeah.
Which like I wasn't mad about, but I was like, it's going to Stephanie Hsu. And then it went to her for the same movie. I'm like, huh.
And Angela Bassett was in Black Panther.
Black Panther,
she was kind of the front runner that year. So.
And then so Jamie Lee Curtis kind of stole it up from underneath her. Which, another tangent, but I love Jamie Lee Curtis in that movie, so I'm not that mad about it. For me, going into this like a week ago, this was really easy for me. And I think I'm still ultimately going to go with Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, just based on the amount of that performance in that movie. That is 3 hours of a man just fucking going through it. I know the Oscars tend to love giving awards out to people that are playing depictions of real life people. We had Rami Malek for Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody, and I would be surprised if they did a Bob Dylan or a Timothée Chalamet playing Bob Dylan in A Complete Unknown. Sadly, I think there are two performances that you highlighted in the absence of you mentioning them, really, is Coleman Domingo and Sebastian Stan. I don't think that they really have a snowball's chance in hell in terms of getting an award this evening. I do think that their nomination was them winning, basically. And I love to see Coleman Domingo in this category because I think he was sensational in Sing Sing. And I was blown away by Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice and in A Different Man. But I think, yeah, I'd have to go with Adrian Brody. I'm not giving too much steam to Timothée Chalamet, but I do think that there might be some momentum also with Ralph Fiennes. So, and I personally, if I had to pick who I would want to win, I would say Ralph Fiennes. I love Ralph Fiennes, and I think the fact that he hasn't won an Oscar, I think he's one of the best actors working today without an Oscar. So I would love to amend that and give him his Oscar. But Adrian Brody, I see no faults in what you put on screen for 3 hours straight. So I can't fathom him not winning this. And I as someone who loves Timothée Chalamet, he should have got nominated for his other movie. He should have got nominated for Dune Part 2. His portrayal as Paul Atreides is better than, I think, his impression of Bob Dylan. But that is neither here nor there. Moving on into actress in a leading role. This one also a bit dicey. What fun. We have Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. We have Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. Mikey Madison. I've seen Mickey Madison, but I'm like, there's no C. Mikey Madison for Honora. Demi Moore for The Substance. And Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here.
This is a bar.
Fuck this one. This is like the hardest one I think this year.
100%.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth. I've filled out ballots like over the past 3 weeks. I think I've filled out 6 ballots of just where I think it's gonna go. And then you have Demi Moore win the SAG, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I want Demi Moore to win. I'm just going back, and my only kind of guiding thought to dictate who I think is likely going to win this is what is more of the Oscar-type performance. And I think it's Mikey Madison. So I think it's going to go to her for Nora. That's who I would pick. But also you have Cynthia Erivo in Wicked in a big, grand, epic, classic Hollywood performance in Wicked. And it's just like, I could see them potentially giving it to her. I could see Demi Moore and Mikey Madison splitting votes and Fernanda Torres being a dark horse and winning because she's sensational and I'm Still Here. I could see this really going any which way. I'm kind of ruling out Carla Sofia Gascon just based on a lot of the...
What?
Based on a lot of the kind of...
No way.
Shit that came up. I feel like she might have shot herself in the foot. She might be out of the running.
Really?
I don't know. She's going to be at the awards ceremony. Good for her.
She'll be there.
But I think she likely is the one person I'd be the most surprised if she walked away with this award. I think it's between one of 4 women in this category.
So right now you're taking Mikey Madison.
I think right now I'm going to take Mikey Madison,
Okay.
and I think it's only going to change if I have like a random itch at 6:58 p.m. right before the Oscars start. And I'm like, fuck it, it's got to be to me.
Okay.
So that's going to be. I feel like there are a number of categories where it's going to dictate who wins out of you and I in terms of who has the better ballot. And it's going to be maybe some of the shorts, or it's going to be actress in a leading role, I think. Or maybe Best Picture, because that one
For
has
sure.
some balls up in the air, too.
Last couple of years, I have gotten Best Actress wrong. Last year, I picked Lily Gladstone over Emma Stone. Year before, I picked Cate Blanchett over Michelle Yeoh. So I'm looking to redeem myself this year. I got 3 years in a row. I can't be wrong that much.
You know who didn't pick Cate Blanchett?
Shut the fuck up.
You know who picked Michelle Yeoh?
All right, go ahead. No, this is the category where it's like I could make an argument for almost everybody.
Separate the men from the boys. This
I think
category will.
Cynthia Erivo is a dark horse, and I think the only reason she won't win this year is because we do have Wicked for Good coming out later this year, which will certainly be in the Oscar contention for next year. So some voters may think like, well, we could give it to her then.
Yeah.
We could maybe award her for that.
Were they potentially? I know that they talked about this. Didn't they talk about potentially switching kind of lead and supporting for Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo next year even too? So
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know. We'll know more once we see the fucking movie. But I just
Yeah. So
they're both leads in that fucking movie, so that kind of just upsets me. But whatever.
yeah. So yeah, I think Mikey Madison, Demi Moore, and Fernanda Torres. I could envision any of them winning. Again, kind of what I said earlier. I'm like, I don't like just Mikey Madison being a very young actress, and like the Academy is hesitant sometimes to award it. That it knocks it a little bit because I think Honora is going to win in a lot of other big categories. I'm picking Demi Moore. I'm sticking with her. I think her speeches have been incredible this award season. But Fernanda Torres has just come on so strong late in the season. I'm Still Here and her have both been just so popular with so many voters, I feel like, and just with audiences in general. I would not be surprised if she won. I think she gives a great performance in that movie. So this one is really tough, and again, it could change Oscar morning. I wake up and I pick somebody else, but right now I'm sticking with Demi Moore.
I mean, if you really break it down, it's only between Cynthia Erivo, Mikey Madsen, Demi Moore, and Fernanda Torres. It's only between the 4 of them.
Yeah,
if you break it down, if you just simplify it, it's only between them.
Yeah, right. But this is going to be a really fun category. This is going to be a fun. This is going to be the most nervous I am like watching the ceremony of like. I still don't know.
That one will predict whoever wins our ballots. I guarantee.
More than likely, yeah. All right, last 2 awards. We got Best Director. We have Sean Baker for Anora, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez, and Coralie Farge for The Substance. As much as I would love to see Coralie Farge win, I think Sean Baker is winning for Anora. He won at the DGA, which is pretty strong. I think Brady Corbet does have a chance, though. I could see him being a little dark horse, but I think Sean Baker's taking this.
Yeah, 100% same way for me. I think Sean Baker's kind of has this one safely. Brady Corbet is the only one that I think potentially is a threat, but I think Sean Baker has kind of solidified his potential winning of this award. So moving into the big award for Best Picture. The nominees, the 10 nominees, maybe we just cut it down to fucking 8 instead of 10 because 2 of them probably shouldn't be in here, at least. Anyways, the nominees, Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Do you want to say our picks at the count of 3? Like 1, 2, 3, we both say our picks? Because I don't know who you're going to go with. Do you think you know who I'm going to say?
I think so. Okay. Probably.
I think you know who I'm going to say. I have no idea who the fuck you're going to say. Do you want to just do 1, 2, 3, and then on 3 we...
Yeah, let's do that. All right.
1, 2, 3. Anora.
Brutalist. Okay.
But I also would understand the Brutalist winning, so...
So this one for me is between Anora, The Brutalist, and Conclave.
Yeah.
Those are the 3. I don't really picture anybody else being even like a dark horse candidate.
What if Wicked? What if just like the big musical one?
That'd be insane.
I think I'd be fine with it too.
I'd be okay with it. Yeah. I mean, so just kind of breaking those 3 down quick. Like Anora has had the momentum this past month. DGA, PGA wins. It has a lot of momentum going in. The Brutalist is kind of that classic traditional Best Picture winner that you can think of and be like, yeah, that makes sense to win Best Picture. And then Conclave, winning the Ensemble Award at SAG. Not that always translates to a Best Picture win, but we were talking about it earlier. I think with Anora especially, a lot of people will have that at the top of their ranking. So just a quick thing on Best Picture, how it's voted on is ranked choice voting. So people will rank all 10 nominees, and then we'll take the best, like, kind of cumulative, like, average out
score,
of that.
Basically, yeah.
So a movie that is kind of sitting at, like, a lot of people's 2 and 3 could do better than a movie sitting, like, with some votes at, a lot of votes at 1, but then a lot of votes at, like, 9 and 10, which I think that's kind of Anora, is where a lot of people will have it at the top of their list, but then a lot of people will have it towards the bottom as well. Whereas Conclave and The Brutalist, I think, are going to be in that, like, 2 to 4 range, where a lot of people are going to have it in that range. And I think that could allow something like Brutalist or Conclave to win. But then is there just so much love and support for Anora that it's like, all right, well, that's the clear frontrunner. We just don't know. And that's the exciting thing. I don't...
It's nice having a year like this after Oppenheimer just cleaned up last year, where we just have no fucking idea.
I love to... I don't know. I'll probably wake up Oscar morning and pick Anora to win. Just because I'll be like, no, I can't pick against that. But...
And then what if you're wrong? And what if
it's like, what if
which is the one that you want to win?
What if I take a fucking swing?
So everything you were saying about Anora being more split and Brutalist and Conclave being more towards the top, I would actually flip that. I would say I think Conclave still would, like... That's why I'm like, Conclave might be like a viable dark horse for winning this. Because overall, going into this, I thought it'd be between Anora and Brutalist, but Conclave just, I'm like, everyone that I've heard that has seen the film liked it a lot. And I've heard more kind of complaints about the Brutalist being a war of two halves than I've heard negatives about Anora. The most negatives I've heard about Anora has been mostly between, I feel like, you and I and like maybe a few other reviewers I've seen on Instagram and stuff that are like, yeah, it's good, but it's not like the best movie I've ever seen. So I think overall Anora is going to pretty regularly among the ballots place pretty high. So I think that's going to solidify. Like, I think Anora on the majority of the ballots would be in the top 3 of votes. So I'm like, it's got a big chance, I think. Which, not to say that I want fucking Dune Part 2, which is nowhere near in the conversation. I just wish everyone that was like, yeah, Dune Part 2, for sure, right? Like, I wish that would just landslide it. But I think it is really kind of those 3 main movies, Conclave, Brutalist, and Anora. Out of those 3, I'd want it to be Conclave. Conclave feels like if the King's Speech winning. The Brutalist feels like Oppenheimer winning, this big epic. And Anora feels like Coda winning, where it's like, okay, like a good movie, but like, I'm not going to remember that in 20 years. Not that Legacy is everything in terms of Best Picture winners. I probably couldn't name the Best Picture winner from 2001. I can't.
Gladiator?
I was going to say, is that Gladiator? Because I mix up the 2000 2001, like the whole year marking system for the Academy Awards, but I just...
It's tough.
It's going to be a coin flip. It's going to, like, right now I'm feeling Anora, but I completely get what you're saying about Brutalist and Conclave, to where it's going to be... like 5 minutes before, we're going to have Cane's chicken in our stomach, a couple beers down, maybe a glass of wine open, and I'm going to be like, fuck it, why not? Let's put the Brutalist down. Like, I don't know. Like, it's going to...
Makes it fun. And so Picture and Best Actress are the 2 where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just simply don't know.
And then, like we mentioned, like the ones that we think should potentially be locks. Kieran Culkin. It's like, well, what if, though? Like, there's still arguments for other actors, so... Yeah, and you'd think, like, the awards leading up to the Oscars would be a pretty good, identifier as to what's going to win, but if anything, it just further shuffled the deck, and it's like, well, fuck, I don't really know in terms of a lot of these awards. Honestly, the shorts are going to be hard, and I'm like, fuck, maybe next year I just skip seeing the shorts, and then I just like, yeah, which one did I hear about? That one will probably win. Yep. Now I'm like, I've seen them all, I've heard about them all, and now I'm like, fuck, am I just picking my favorites? But I don't know. It's been... this has been a very eventful year, and it's rare that we have, at least between the two of us, so many movies up for Oscars that we're not the biggest fans of, which I think is kind of fun. It gives us something to hate on and something that we love, and things to disagree about. I like Anora a little bit more than you. I know I like Amelia Perez a lot more than you.
Get them both out. Put Sing Sing and September 5th in Best Picture. And replace those 2.
Honestly, or if you just, like, I think 10 nominees is a bit excessive for the Best Picture. I'm happy that they standardized it to doing, like, all right, every year we're just going to fucking do 10. But I'm like, you can probably shave it down to 8 because, like, I love The Substance. I don't think it has a snowball's chance in hell at winning Best Picture.
Second time you use that phrase today.
I know. Yeah. It just stuck in my head earlier today, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to coin that.
Hey, found one you liked.
Yeah, one that I can't fuck up, and I can just keep throwing wood on the fire with it. Yeah, I'm going to keep fucking using it. You didn't need to call me out for that. bit rude of you, okay? Yeah, and I don't think Nickel Boys has a snowball's chance in hell. So... Amelia Perez. If Amelia Perez won, I would light myself on fire. Not even out of protest, out of pure pissed off rage.
You know who would be happy about that? Mikey Madison. Twice she's been lit on fire in movies. How about that, huh?
I was wondering where you're going with that. I didn't immediately make the connection. I was like, did she say something in an interview or something?
No.
But
Mikey Madison, she's great at being lit on fire in movies.
We need to figure out what we're going to use in terms of like how we're going to bet. What are we going to bet against or bet for? Usually it's like a movie that we bet or...
Yeah, like buy each other a movie. I think last year,
you won last year.
I won. The year before you won. That's kind of the 2 years that we've like head-to-head actually compared.
The best year I ever had was 2019 when Parasite was up for Best Picture. And I got one wrong, and it was Parasite. Because I was like, 1917 is going to win. There's no way an international like language film is going to win the Best Picture. Not because it shouldn't, but because it's never happened before. And then sure enough, fucking Bong Joon-ho's up there accepting the award. And I'm like, damn it, I'm happy you won, but fuck, dude.
Parasite changed the game. Yeah, it really did. Yeah, we'll think of a bet though. We'll come up with something. But just as a little programming note, we are going to put out a episode on Sunday that is just kind of our weekly roundup that we typically do. Just talking about what we watched,
which is a lot of Oscar movies we've missed out on.
Yeah,
in the past.
just kind of historical Oscar movies and stuff. We won't really cover Oscar stuff in that episode since we did it here. And then on Monday, we plan on putting out a reactions to the nominees, or to the winners, I should say, after we're hungover, because after the Oscars, we're going to play Black Ops and drink whiskey and stuff. Yeah. So that's going to be sweet. So you're going to get us at our prime?
You're gonna either get Mason sloppy pissed off drunk, or you're going to get Mason sloppy happy drunk.
It depends who wins Best Picture, honestly.
Yeah.
If Anora wins, I'm going to be very mad. If Brutalist or Conclave wins, I'll be very happy. So... time will tell, and we can't fucking wait. It's gonna be so much fun.
Honestly, you know what the award that's gonna really make or break my night is? It's not gonna be a Best Picture.
Live action short?
No, fuck you, dude. Come on, don't ruin my fucking steam that I have going for me. What do you think it is?
The award that is
the one that has the most potential to ruin my night. We harped on it a little bit already.
I'm trying to remember. We got passionate about a lot of these. I don't know, what is it?
Animated feature.
Oh,
if it goes to Flow,
okay,
that will be the thing that would piss me off the most. And I have a cat. I don't need to watch a 90-minute cat movie. Anyways,
fuck it.
Regardless, have fun filling out your ballots. Good luck filling out your ballots. Thank you for sitting and having some liquor drinks with us, listening to us fucking two white guys jabber on about a award ceremony that's gone on for 97 years about movies. So yeah, thanks for sitting with us, having some fucking drinks, dealing with us. Go Mikey Madsen if you're rooting for Mason's ballot. If you're rooting for Corey's ballot, go Amelia Perez, because he picked it for Best Picture.
Quiet.
Anyways, all kidding around. Be sure to follow us on Instagram for movie news, movie reviews. Also, we're on TikTok, on YouTube. You can listen to us on YouTube. Maybe one day we'll put videos up on YouTube. Who knows? But in the world of film, it's not just about what's on screen. It's also about who's sitting next to you in the theater. From Corey and I at Slate Night, that's a wrap.